Hi, and welcome to another episode of Josh Cook's Random Stuff. I don't know if we're going to call it that, but it just popped into my head. So today we're doing something new for me, and I've found that doing new and random things seems to work out better than some of the tried and true stuff I did. So one of my favorite snacks has always been pretzels. And pretzels sound really, really boring for a cooking video, but we're going to do soft pretzels today because they are incredibly hard to find. Well, at least good ones anyway. I mean, you can find them in the grocery store and they're but for the most part, there aren't people doing pretzel shops anymore that are anything good. I mean, there's one nearby here that all they literally do is take those grocery store pretzels and then sell them to you. And that seems kind of dumb. I mean, brilliant business model if it works for them, but taste-wise, not so much. So today, we're going to go through the process of putting together pretzel dough and making them. First things first, we need yeast, which I have one full packet of active dry yeast in here, as well as some chunky light brown sugar for sweetness to give the yeast something to eat. Now, I know I prefer dark brown sugar. It's better in many respects for what I like it for, but this, I'm not looking for the molasses flavor. I'm not looking for that depth. I'm just looking for a little bit of extra chewiness to the pretzels along with the sweetness for the yeast. So light brown sugar, not the dark stuff. I think the dark stuff goes a little too far. To that, we want to add 1.5 cups of warm water. Not hot, not boiling, warm. We're trying to wake our yeast up. I've seen some recipes, and I went through a lot of them to come up with what we're going to do today. But I've seen some recipes that talk about Bavarian pretzel making and how they use nothing but ice cold water. And it's important that you use ice cold water. Well, the good people of Bavaria have access to baker's yeast, which is already alive, already active and awake. Mine isn't, so I need warm water to wake it up. And so will you. So, warm stuff. 110 is where we're shooting for, temperature-wise, Fahrenheit anyway. So I'm going to stick this in here. Let's see. Oh, turn on, please. Thank you. Let's see where we're at. Not nearly warm enough. All right. 110 is where we're shooting for. And this is telling me 109. So, cup and a half of this. 1.5 cups of water going into our yeast and sugar. I use my measuring spoon to stir so I make fewer dishes. And then what we're going to add for a bit more richness is melted butter. Now this has been cooled. I checked it before we started recording. It was at 105 degrees then, so it's not going to kill the yeast, but it is going to add a layer of richness to our finished product and give the yeast a little bit something else to munch on. Get that good and mixed, and then walk away. 15 minutes we're blooming our yeast. We want it to come to life and actually start bubbling before we do anything else. So I'll be back with you in 15 minutes. Okay, 15 minutes are gone, and as you can see in my bowl, the yeast has come back to life. Hooray! In this other bowl, we have 4.5 cups of bread flour. Now, you can use all-purpose flour. That's not an issue here. I'm using the bread flour because I would like a chewier pretzel, at least a chewier soft pretzel. If you only have all-purpose flour, that's okay. All right? So what we're going to do is we're going to take this 4.5 cups of flour, and we're going to put 3 of them into the bowl. In addition to that, I don't know if you can really see it, but sitting on top is a single teeny tiny tablespoon of kosher salt. So I'm going to scoop that too to make sure I get that. All right. It's 1 cup, 1.5 cups, 2 cups, 2.5 cups. And there is cup number 3. That leaves a cup and a half in there, and that's okay. We're going to start with our mixing attachment to get this all to come together. And we're going to do it on low. Once we have a passable dough, I'm going to turn this off, pull off my mixing attachment, get my hands a little bit dirty to get everything off of it. Back in the bowl, back in the bowl. Then we are going to attach our dough hook. Yay, dough hook, because we are working with dough. I know, it surprised me too. Pause. Did you like our little pause for the dog? He's a moron, and he likes to make sure he's heard. All right, so this is kind of loose, and that's not really a surprise to me at this point because it is another day that I'm working with flour, and it's raining outside. I think Mother Nature has it in for me, personally. So, turn this off, lift it up, and we're going to add a little bit more of that flour. Why am I doing this part by hand? So I can get the stuff that's still stuck to my hand off. See, that's a little cheating trick that you can do too. Now, it's important to understand, especially with weather always playing a factor in baking with flour, that the amounts of flour that are in this recipe are going to vary based on the outside conditions. If it's more wet outside, you're going to need more flour because the humidity in the atmosphere is going to make the flour less effective. It's going to make it more damp, so you need more of it to actually get a good dough. But we're going to see where this takes us. One teeny tiny scoop of flour at a time. I'm going to work this into a ball. Up to medium speed now. We're actually getting a nice ball of dough here. Now it's at this point that you could decide, I'm just going to let this run for 5 minutes and not have to worry about it. I'm not that guy. I prefer to get it started in the mixing bowl. And then, once I've got it started in the mixing bowl, and as you can see, it is pulled, well, as you may be able to see. Come on. It's pulled away from the sides. That's what you want to see. That's what we're going for because that means we've got the dough coming together. Yes, yes, nod, nod, nod. Oh, it's still very, very sticky though. And that is not what I'm looking for. We want a smooth dough that isn't going to cling to everything. How are we going to get there? More flour! That's right. So I'm going to turn this out onto my silicone mat. Whee! I'm going to grab some more flour and we're going to do this by hand. And if you don't have a wonderful stand mixer like I do, this entire process is by hand. And that's okay. You can absolutely get away with that because that's how it's been done elsewhere in the world for thousands of years. Well, kneading dough for thousands of years. Pretzels, a few hundred, if I'm remembering my history correctly. How do we knead dough? Just like this. Turn and smoosh. Turn and smoosh. Get off of my fingers. Okay. Making progress. I don't know if you guys can hear that. I'm close enough with my mic, but it's making a sticking noise to the silicone, but it's not sticking to the silicone. It's not sticking to me anymore either. That is where we want things to be. We don't want the dough to be sticking to everything, but it's not. So this phase of things is done. We've kneaded the dough to the point where it is not sticky anymore, and it's ready to rest. We need this to rise and double in size, which is about 30 minutes sitting off by itself in the mixing bowl. You should cover this with a tea towel, or if you don't have a tea towel, I'm a big fan of taking a couple of paper towels, making them wet with really hot water, and then putting that on top. Keeps everything moist. And yes, I know, I said the word moist. My camera person, who's not my normal camera person this time, but my camera person rolled their eyes at me because they do not like the word moist, which is why I keep saying the word moist. Anyway, we're going to put this in a warm place, cover it, and we'll be back in 30 minutes. Okay, so I said before the break 30 minutes. This is more like 45 because I actually wanted this to double in size. Look at that. That is what we're going for. Something gigantic. Okay, I'll punch it down that way and pull it out. Jiminy Christmas. Making me look bad. Dough ball. Our next step is to portion this out because we are going to roll out some pretzels. Now, what you want to do is you want to make sure you have baking sheets lined with parchment paper for the product that we're going to get once we've rolled this out. So we want to try to get them as even as possible, and I could bust out the scale. I'm not going to, because this is just for me. Well, me and the family to have pretzels. This is nothing hugely special, but got my pizza cutter to roll this out. And this might be a little too much, but we'll see what happens. Roll from the middle outward. Yeah, this is a bit much. That's okay, because I have a child in the house who loves her some pretzels, but she has braces. So eating a soft pretzel by herself might not be the best idea. That's why I'm going to take this overly thick one that we have, and I'm going to turn it into pretzel nuggets. So that the child can have some when we're done.
I'm sure she'll appreciate that.
I'm sure she'll appreciate that too. So, all right. A little bit of this leftover flour to prevent some sticking, because that's obnoxious. This wasn't sticky when it went to rest, but suddenly it's sticky again. I'm not okay with that. All right. Come here, you. Where is your Auntie Anne's person when you need them to do the rolling for you? Try to get this to like 18 inches maybe. That's the other reason that I have this out, so that I can measure. All right. Don't worry if it is not perfect. Nothing that I make ever is, so you should not worry about it either. All right. So it's then that we form the pretzel shape. This is where I'm really going to mess things up, because I am not good with shaping things. So it's not terrible, not great, but not terrible. That's all you have to do. And then we move this bad boy over here. Hooray! And we're going to keep doing that over and over and over again until we have 2 trays full of pretzels. I'm not going to make you sit here and watch it. I'll make you sit here and watch me one more time, just so that maybe I can do this twice and it won't look terrible. And then I will do the rest of these while you guys go get a snack or whatever. And then we'll come back and I'll show you the next step. Now, the next step is kind of important. In fact, I'll talk about it while I'm rolling this thing. So if I bake this now as is, I'm baking bread. That's not what we're going for. We want pretzels. And to do that, we have to change the pH. I know, it's not chemistry class. I'm not in high school anymore, Josh. I don't want to have to do this. I get it. But we want to make sure that we alter the pH, and you can do that in a number of different ways, one of which is the use of lye. I don't want to use lye. I don't have lye. Lye is dangerous. Lye can hurt you. I mean, lies can, but lye, L-Y-E, also is dangerous and lye can hurt you. So what I have here in this lovely pot is 10 cups of water, to which I am going to add 2/3 of a cup of baking soda. Baking soda. We're going to bring that to a boil, but not right this second. That comes after all of this. But that is going to help us to replicate the effect lye would have on these so that you get a more pretzel-like texture. And that all comes after I'm done making the pretzels. So I'll see you guys in a little bit. All right, this is our last one. What comes next is we cover these with a tea towel or with those paper towels. My wife found this lovely Americana tea towel that she has. We cover. And then I'm going to take the paper towels that I used to cover the dough when it was just doughing. And we're going to let these guys rest for 15 minutes. That's what's referred to as a bench rest. It's a way to let the yeasty boys that we've got in here figure out what's going on and maybe proof these a little bit before we get into the next step. While we're waiting, I'm coming over here. I'm turning this on to high because I need to get this stuff to boil. And I'm going to add my 2/3 cup of baking soda. That's an eighth. That doesn't work. That's a third. Excellent. That's a good thing I got the new box out, isn't it? Mwahaha. Planning ahead is always a good idea. So that's 1/3. Seriously, guys? Come on. I'm recording this, you know. That's 2/3. Give it a stir to get it ready. And just let this start to boil. I will be back with you in 15 minutes or once this has actually started boiling, whichever comes second. Number of things have gone on during the pause. 1, this has come to a boil. 2, I have beaten together an egg with a teaspoon of water to make a wash. We're not going to use that for all of them, but we're going to use it for some of them because we're testing things. But 15 minutes have passed. My oven is now at 450 degrees. I have another parchment-lined baking sheet. Blah, 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 blah. If I could talk. We're going to take our pretzels one at a time, or 2 if you're feeling daring, with a spider. And we're going into the liquid for 30 seconds. No more, no less. Keep them submerged as best you can for 30 seconds. Stay down. Just stay down. It's okay. Come on. The whole point, you know what? I'm just flipping you over then. Stay down. Do the best you can. We're almost there. Come on, watch. Behave. There it is. 30 seconds. We're not trying to cook these. We want to dry the pretzel as much as we can. Shake off as much extra liquid as there is onto the sheet. Now, while Mr. Pretzel is still damp, we're taking some sea salt because I couldn't find pretzel salt, and we're sprinkling it on the top. Because why? Because if you do it when it's dry and then put it in the boiling water, it will melt off. This is the best possible time to do it. Hooray! That's 1. Okay. This guy's kind of small. And this guy's kind of small. So we're going to try 2 of our smaller ones. Just going to drop. Reset my timer for 15, and then I'll flip them so I don't have to keep trying to hold them down. Flip. 1, 2, flip. There we go. Another 15 seconds and we'll be ready to pull. And there it is. 30 seconds. This is why I wasn't going to do 2 of them at a time, but I didn't really think that through. Now, did I, ladies and gents? All right, so this is going to be our test batch. We're going to do 1 of these, this one back here. We're going to put the wash on. This is to see which brown's better. So that will help us to determine if the wash is strictly something necessary when making soft pretzels. I know inquiring minds desperately need to know. Why am I using sea salt? I heard somebody ask that just out of the ether. I'm using sea salt because I couldn't find pretzel salt, and good luck if you can, great. If not, sea salt is this nice coarse salt, nice and thick, which is what you want in your pretzel salt, or at least It's what I want in my pretzel salt. Okay, back to one at a time. Going in. All right. 30 seconds. After this, after we get everybody boiled and salted, they are going into a 450 degree oven for approximately 10 minutes, and then we're going to check on them. All right, you need to flip over, pal. All right, once again, drain off as much as we can of our somewhat deformed pretzel. And salt when we're done. That's it, ladies and gents. That's all you have to do. That's how you're going to get your pretzel pH up to brown it. I am going to stay here and continue this lovely process. You can take a step away, thankfully, or through the magic of YouTube. We'll come back when this is all done, and I'm putting them in, or pulling them out of the oven, because I'm not going to make you. Why would I bring you back here to watch me put them in the oven? That doesn't make sense. I'll see you back in a bit. 10 minutes. Let's take a look. Oh, my goodness. I think they might be done. I think they might be done. Okay. Lost one. That's okay. That's okay. Come here, you. Well, since I'm picking it up, you can see the bottom is nice and brown too. Those are our pretzels. Putting that second batch in for another 10 minutes, but with the exception of one of them, they look pretty tasty, ladies and gentlemen. What we want to do now is let them cool down, and we will come back and try one. This is the egg wash one. This is the non-egg wash one, I think. Pretty sure. Yeah.
So it didn't make too much.
No, it didn't make a huge amount of difference. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. That's how you make pretzels at home. And hopefully they turn out looking, I mean, geez, that looks damn delicious. Oh, I know this isn't for kids, but excuse my language. But we're going to try it now. I give this to Nora, even though it's my favorite part of the pretzel, the little nub on the end. There you go. Hot. Ooh, look, it's still steamy. Steamy rave on. Here for my camera person.
Oh, thank you.
Ow. Tasty bite for myself. Mmm.
Oh, so good.
It tastes the way a pretzel should. It has the nice crunch on the outside. The salt works really, really well. So coarse sea salt, ladies and gents. Definitely a good idea for you. These are phenomenal. And I hope yours turn out as good as mine. If you like this video, please hit like, hit subscribe. Leave me a comment. Tell me what I'm doing wrong, what you like, what you don't like. See you guys here next week.